Okay, I think what I'm going to work on next, and all I'm doing is, this is going to be for these are the fittings for my transmission, the 4L80 transmission cooling lines. I don't know if you can... Anyways, all I'm going to do is plug these into the side of the transmission. I didn't get any other fittings for the hose, primarily because I got to thinking about it. I wanted to get these fittings in, find out how far they stuck out, and they make a hard 90 AN fitting, and then they make the sweeping 90 AN fitting. I guess what I'm trying to say is I need to find out how much room I got in there, whether I need to get the short 90 or the long sweeping 90. So I ain't gonna video it, but it's going in there, and then I'll let you know. Alright, so here it is. Transmission mount, I just got loosely bolted in there. Just one bolt on each side. And this right here is for your torque arm. And the original transmission mount, this is a 4L80. The original transmission mount was way over here. Where is it? Here it is down here. Doesn't look like it, but I guess these angle brackets right here. Anyways, it was bolted up like that. Anyways, this little arm right here was hitting it, would not come up vertical. So this right here's got to be pointed up. This is only halfway. I still got other plates to put, and this is where your torque arm bolts right here. So anyways, we finally figured that out. He told me I needed to get a different transmission mount. This is energy suspension, I think it is. It don't matter. So I got a new transmission mount. Had to order one of them, put that in. So I'm like, sweet, let's go ahead and try to get all this put back together, get it sitting down. Well, now, issue I'm running into, I'll see if I can get a light on it. So I don't know if you can see, but the transmission cooler lines are actually starting to hit the transmission tunnel. So before I bolt everything in, either A, I'm going to have to beat on this transmission tunnel to make room for that one transmission cooling 90. Either A, do that, or I was looking on Summit and they make the hard 90s, 6 AN fittings. So I am actually going to go ahead and order them this weekend. Tonight, I'll order that and get these hard 90s. Maybe it'll give me more clearance. I'll get two of them, one for up front, one on back. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and take this 90 off and see if that 90 is going to fit on the radiator. Because I just plan on running this cooling line down the frame rail up to the front. Before I get this thing mounted up, I'm going to have to go ahead and get those little short 90s. Make sure they're going to work before I get everything buttoned up in here. So that's another sticking point. I'm going to be waiting on parts. This is where those transmission, this is a 1/2 inch by 20 NPT thread. I got another one down here underneath this nipple. I get two here. I've already got those fittings, and I'll try putting those 90s, those sweeping 90s right here and see how they fit. If they stick way out here too far with all the fittings, I might just go ahead. In fact, tonight I know I will. I'll just go ahead and order 4 of those short hard bend 90s. If I don't use them here, I'm sure I'll end up running into something else where I use them there. Got some more goodies. Fittings, fuel pump, throttle cable, and this is for a fuel pump. And you'd think this box would be a lot bigger for how much I spent. Oh well. Alright, so here's the fittings I got that I was wanting to put on the transmission up there for the transmission cooling lines. This is what goes up there in the tunnel that I was showing you earlier. This right here is what I actually had on there to start with. And this right here, the hose end was right on the tunnel. So I was either going to have to beat the tunnel in a little bit, or actually beat it out to make more room. But then I got this right here, and we'll see if it actually saves me some room. It is quite a bit shorter. Well, I say quite a bit, maybe half, 3/4 inch. Kind of deceiving on this GoPro. Anyways, this is what I got, the Vibrant. And I don't know if you can see what that is, whatever. But we'll see how this is. I guess it is still a swivel. They call it swivel, but we'll see. Alright, so of course the fittings weren't enough. You see that first one right there? Right now I can't get my finger between there, super tight. Now I still have quite a bit of room up here, but the only thing is that I also got a lot of slop in this trans mount still. I don't have it mounted solid, so that plus it's also going to have to get moved over this way quite a bit. This trans mount, not been happy with it. Starting to look like my pan might start hitting. Looks like the pan might start hitting this brace. We'll see for sure. I might have to do some grinding and cutting to clearance it. We'll see. Either that or, well, I was going to say maybe I don't have to move it all the way over, but I do. We'll see. First things first. So I'll pull the transmission out. If I can get a paint pen in there or something to identify where I'm going to bash it, because if I don't mark it, as soon as I drop it, I'll bash the wrong spot. Then I'll have to put it back up, find out I did it wrong, drop it back down again. So, alright, got the transmission dropped, sitting in this little tunnel here, and this is where you can just barely see where there it is. You can barely see where I took a paint pen and marked what I got beat up. First things first, I'll get me a block of wood or something, hammer, start beating that in, see how much I can get beat over, and I'll scrape this, clean this area up the best I can. Alright, so I beat on it. You can just barely tell right here. It actually went better than I was expecting. I use this little, I don't know what kind of poundage it is, but this ball peen, it's relatively heavy, probably 3 to 5 pounds. But I just use the backside, just did a bunch of that all the way around. Obviously I went bigger than what I should have. Lord knows it don't matter how big I go or how deep I go, odds are it's not going to be enough. I'm going to have to drop this transmission again. Let's see if it works now. Alright, I finally got this transmission back in. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it or not up there, but looks like beating it in did the trick. I won't know for sure until I finally get this thing set where I need it to. But the original plan of beating this thing in to clear these cooling water line or cooling lines, transmission cooling lines, looks like it's doing what it's supposed to. Now, issue number whatever, lost track. This transmission mount, 4L80 transmission mount, still giving me fits. This rubber mount, I don't know if you can see up in there. There's the edge of the plate right there. That bolt hole that you can barely see in the center is supposed to be over here. I can't move the transmission over anymore because it's actually hitting this freaking bracket for the transmission mount. So I'm gonna have to pull this transmission mount down, probably go ahead and take a cutoff wheel and zip a little bit of this off, be able to get the corner of this pan to clearance. Really starting to regret this 4L80 choice. Alright, I've taken this about as far as I'm going to go, at least for now. I was about ready to start bolting it up. One of my little workarounds I had to do is I went ahead and drilled extra bolt holes here. You can see where the originals were. This bracket does not go there, any of them holes. So you can see my white paint pen where I went ahead and marked the new holes. It gets this angle bracket just perfect right up in there. This whole time I've been trying to match these holes up with these bolt holes, and it was never working right. I finally bolted this thing right up to the transmission, and it fit perfect over there on that side. The angle iron fit right on the subframe perfect. Over here it was all jacked up. So, well, let me rephrase that. The angle iron fit perfectly on this correct angle and everything over here, but the bolt holes didn't line up. So I guess I was trying to bolt the wrong thing up first. If I'd bolted that side up and then bolted this right up, this would have fell in perfect place. However, the holes wouldn't have lined up. So long story short, made some new bolt holes, stuck some bolts in there. I used a step bit, unibit, whatever you want to call it. Made a little opening right here for a little cheater wrench to get in there. Oh shit. That way I can get on these bolts. I'm gonna have to go get some nuts for the bottom here. Anyways, I'm not going any further right now. As soon as I get the wiring this transmission up, I guarantee I'm gonna have to drop this thing down again. So I'm gonna wait till I do my wiring. So until then, this jack's gonna sit in place, and this transmission is just gonna float. I'm gonna go ahead and work on trans cooling lines. I'll get them transmission cooling lines made up, run them up to the up to the radiator now. Try to find the routing. So I'm gonna call this transmission mounted, even though it's maybe only 3/4 of the way mounted. It's all I'm gonna do. See what happens next.